Good morning, Ines.
Good morning to you, down little hand. Woo.
I love your top today, Ines. It's so
Thank
nice.
you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate. I didn't know what to put on you one of those days. Sorry, long arms, and I can put something woolly on. It's just one of
Yeah,
those vaguely cold days. It's not
it,
really cold, is it? But you
but
always look great.
but it is vaguely cold today. I had to shut my window because normally I have my window always open, and today I was like,
Oh,
oh, I have to because I do like it a bit chillier.
yeah.
I get quite sleepy if it's too warm.
Yes.
So I like to have it a bit colder. What's quite funny is my
Yes.
landlord has like the heating like blazing because he's Italian, you know.
You Mediterranean. Yes, you need.
He's Mediterranean. So he's like, I do not want it to be cold. I'm like, okay. So I sometimes have to sneak the window up in my
Yeah,
room
that's.
because obviously we have central heating, so the heating goes everywhere.
Yeah. Oh,
Um,
that's wonderful.
but I mean,
Oh,
as you know,
you're.
I've lived in some places where it's been freezing. So
Yeah,
I'd rather
this is.
have it slightly warm than too
Yeah,
cold.
exactly. Yeah, I was just going to say you're the envy of many people that
Yeah,
you're lucky enough to have a warm place to go to.
yeah. No, I'm very fortunate. So
Yeah.
definitely not complaining.
Okay. I thought we'd talk about connection, and I read an article. Well, the connection is, it's sometimes really obvious how we're connected, but I also read something about wild pigs some time ago, and so I looked it up where I thought it was. And anyway, it might interest everybody. It's still a fact. So okay. Now, as I said, we all know that we are connected, but actually everything is connected within the universes. But I say everything. And when I say everything, even when we step on a flower, there is a connection. There's an onward connection by stepping on that life force. A flower is a life force. When we do flower clairsentience, the reading of a little flower, it is still a living being. It has an aura. It
Mm,
has a little spirit. So when we step on that flower, when we're walking in the meadows, there is a connection. And that connection then continues on to how we deal with those around us as well. And I think, let's say we go on a walk, and there's a path we can walk on. We go over a stile and rocks and branches and whatnot, and then just by the roadside, there's a bunch of, say, wildflowers, seasonal flowers, and we have to step aside. Do we deliberately disregard those flowers and just step on the flowers because it conveniences ourselves? Or do we perhaps walk a little bit or inconvenience ourselves? So that attitude, I feel, might also connect us on how we deal with others. It's not just a flower, it's still a living being. Do we respect the color, the beauty of it, and just have a little bit of effort and step aside anyway? Now, if we think of something really, really obscure, I'm getting to the wild pigs now, okay, that I've read about. Wild pigs in Peru, they are slaughtered for their meat, okay, their sustenance. Their leather is used for clothing and also for articles in their homes and so on and so forth. And then the bones of these wild pigs are then made into ornaments that go around what is called a baby bag. And this baby bag with the bones around it gives off a melodic sound or rhythm that soothes the baby. So we're now going from an animal that is free roaming, is slaughtered, and then is now soothing a human baby. The bones are then lulling it to sleep, into a happy, blissful sleep. Maybe the parents get a kick out of it too. I don't know. But so much, everything is connected. But most importantly, though, what is connected with everything and continues out literally into the universes, because there's more than one universe, as you know, are our thoughts and our attitudes as they all move out into the ethers. All of ours, every one of ours moves out into the ethers. And these attitudes and thoughts can then easily be picked up by our own sensitivity, everybody's sensitivity, which of course is the sixth sense. And then they can become ours. Often without our knowledge. We're not aware of it. meaning we can become depressed, we can become anxious, whatever, any of these things, because of the attitudes and the thoughts that are floating all around us. So I don't know what your thoughts are there. Sometimes, Thor, do you find all of a sudden either you feel super happy? That could be a meditation group, any place in the world, doesn't matter what religion it is, and they're sending out positive thoughts, and you happen to be lucky enough to pick up a tiny bit of those positive energies.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Oh, excuse me. I think that's absolutely true. And well, I suppose, yes, absolutely. I think that's really, really true. I think what's more noticeable, I suppose, is when you pick up like negativity, right?
Yeah.
When you pick that up and suddenly, without reason, without logic, you suddenly just feel so
Down.
down.
Oh, it's really hard to get out of that again.
Yeah, it really, really is. I mean, I'm only
Yeah.
reminded of this one experience, and I shared it with you when I was working at the university, and I was sitting in a sofa, and it was just like midday. There was no like, I wasn't going into a carb coma, nothing was like happening. And suddenly the energy was just drained out of me. And that is the
Oh,
most sort of prominent experience which I
oh,
remember, which was just had no sort of
mm.
logical meaning or reasoning behind it.
I know it's terrible, really,
Mm,
really terrible. So what we're actually talking about, of course, this connection is the auric field.
mm,
And the auric field is actually really, if we look at the most important situation that we're dealing with, because all communication, say from health, mental well-being, and the mood of the person, even their intentions. I am going to kill you next. I'm going to do this next, or whatever it happens to be. Even a person's intentions, they are all reflected within the auric field. And it is the aura that's also able to reach out to other life forms or spirit. Obviously, they're two different things, Thor, as you know. Communication, again, as we mentioned a number of sessions ago, is color orientated. Colors are the alphabet of the universe. And what we are seeing or feeling from the aura of any life forms, flowers, inanimate objects, such as a table, when you do an aura reading on a table, where did it come from? Where did the wood come from? Type of thing. They're all colors that are around that person or around that form or object. Flower clairsendience, which we mentioned earlier on, the reading of inanimate objects, dowsing as well, dowsing for water. You're still picking up the aura of water, the aura of gold, the aura of silver, all of those things. It's still with the aura. The rainbow is the aura of the earth and can be read or felt in exactly the same way as the aura or the rainbow around an individual or an object, of course. The aura is also the center of extrasensory perception, ESP. Healing and extrasensory perception are more or less one and the same, because it comes from the third eye and you're sending the thought. But extrasensory is with intent. You are going to send something. That's why sensory perception is you are picking up, oh yeah, oh, I know what you're thinking. Sometimes you know that your auntie or your best friend is calling you, think of them, and bring the phone goes or the text arrives. And that's just because the two auras met and you got that. But extra is, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. That's the extra. We're either feeling the aura around the body with the hands or with the eyes. Either way, all stems from the aura. They're like tentacles, like cat's whiskers, feeding in the dark. Or we can also transmit, as I just said, via the aura, which is the third eye. This is then the chakra bands, the chakrams, which are within the aura. Contacting our guide is aura to aura. Guides enter through the crown chakra. The Vulcan gland on the base of the neck is communication for other life forms. So when we meet somebody, it is the aura recognition. Say somebody brand new, it's the aura recognition that gives us a wow factor, or quite the opposite. It's still aura to aura situation. Have you had those experiences, Thor, that sort of you see, oh God, yeah, I like that person, or they haven't done anything to you. They're hospitable, they're nice, but you just don't like them?
Well, I really liked meeting you for the first time. I still remember,
Oh,
walking into that space, you sitting at the head of the table, and I just thought to myself immediately, I think I like this
Yeah.
person.
Yeah, I did too. Yeah, you were. Yeah, I totally agree with that. That's absolutely yes.
But you
No,
also,
that's
we also have the total opposite when you just meet someone and you're just like, this person
yeah,
doesn't feel very good to
yeah,
me. Like, what's going on here?
yes,
And there's something you
yeah,
pick up, isn't it,
yeah.
in their aura, which doesn't, I suppose it's something which just doesn't resonate with your way of being, right? And that creates some sort of distance, I suppose. Yeah.
That's true.
Mm.
It's a very, and what you just brought us very long subject. That's why I'm sort of quieted. Anyway, we all have distinctive and individualistic approaches and acceptances, of course, as to how we want to lead our life. And this individualism is our karma or our path of life. And according to that, we will be guided accordingly. So once again, we come back to contemplation, meditation, whatever you want to call it, is one of the most important areas in our life, as it not only brings forward our individual acceptance of life, but also brings forward the understanding of the necessity of our life now. So where do you think one would reach that sort of understanding of life? Um, where do all the monks and all the holy men search? They search through the mind. There is nowhere else to search. It has to be through the mind. It's never an easy way, as we are dealing solely with the physical mind, which we are endeavoring to come to heal. So again, with the other podcasts that we've had, that it is the concentration, it's the will, it's the want, it's the commitment, all of those sort of things. It can be sometimes very hard when we try to utilize, let's say, that inner strength or power, especially when one has a busy life. And you hear that too, don't you, Thor? Don't have time for this, don't have time for that. Fine. But if we are able to search amongst that busy life for that sort of understanding, by doing so, very gradually, our mind becomes stronger. And by being peaceful, which is an inner strength, that busy life will sort itself out, because then we're able to evaluate and rotate and rearrange our life in accordance to how it suits us.
Yeah.
That individual approach,
Yeah.
isn't it?
Yeah. I think that's very true. And I think a lot of people don't realize that you can rearrange your life to suit your
Absolutely.
needs.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one instance, you think, oh, I can't take 15 minutes out of my life. But if you give that 15 minutes in, the rewards, you gain maybe hours, maybe.
Yeah, no, 100%.
Yeah. It's always how one deals with life. Everyone's life is busy in a different way. Sometimes even, I think we chatted to this about another group, Thor, because Thor and I work together. Sometimes even after having meditated for a long time, we might feel that nothing's actually happening, and perhaps it's a waste of time. And I say, I just go to tell me what you think, Thor. And what came into my mind, have you meditated for long? Not you, individuals, and nothing's actually happening. What I have found, there are many methods of meditation, and they all are valid in their own right. Choose one, stick to one. Don't listen to others. Go your own way. Because everyone will say, oh, I go this, I do that, mine's better. Oh, no, I don't do what you do. It's much better. So sometimes we can feel, oh, well, I'm not doing it right. I haven't been doing it right for years. Don't believe everything you hear. That's my advice. And if you do it in a certain way and it suits you, stick to it.
Yeah.
But just, again, as I said, people then feel it's a waste of time. But just to achieve any degree of calmness and peace within is worth its weight in gold. Our soul takes on the colors of our thoughts. All life forms, I'm not just talking of dogs and cats, flowers, everything. All life forms are intuitive and can see and feel, it's an inner seeing, of course, and feel the color of what we are as they are reflected in our aura. The aura is also sometimes dubbed as the soul. So meditation, this is spiritual link. This is exactly spiritual link, is how we lead our life. That is spiritual. How do you if you talk about God, the best thing we can do with our life is to be true to ourselves, because that is our individualism. We're meant to be as we are. That doesn't mean that if we abuse our bodies, if we abuse our life and abusive, that could be the lesson. Look at ourselves, change that. But we have the strength to change that. So meditation can create either the physical areas of contentment, happiness, and the ability to deal with the problems of our life, or it can also go forward and delve into the more complex problems of what is. So when the doors to the inner self, the chakrams, of course, are opened, we can then redirect and strengthen the weakest part of ourselves. And what do you feel the weakest part of ourselves is, Thor?
What do I feel the weakest part of ourselves is?
So easy. The physical.
Oh, right. Yes,
We are
of
the
course. I was going to
weakling.
say the mind. I was going to say
Yeah,
sometimes
that's good. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, exactly.
yeah,
It's
I was
us.
going to say the mind can some. It's such an interesting thing though, because the mind can be the weakest, but can also be the strongest at the same time. So it's like a paradox, because the mind is, the mind is incredibly strong at the same time, incredibly fragile, because it's so easily cracked, but it's also so easily strengthened. It's such a funny, it's an
That's
interesting
right.
thing.
But that strength, it can also come from the past lives that we can draw on to get that strength when we've had to go through hell and high water before. But we can also get that strength, the positive energy which is around us from the ethers. We can draw on that through in meditation. We also get the help from the guides when the chips are totally down and we're trying. They can push us up the hill a bit. And once we're up the hill, then we're on our own again. But we have a number of areas that we can actually tap into.
Yeah. It's just a funny, the mind is an interesting instrument.
Yeah, totally. Absolutely, totally. Yeah, no, that's very true.
So what's your wise wisdom for the week, Ines?
Wise wisdom. Okay. If something is humanly possible, consider it within your reach.
Nice. If something is humanly possible, consider it within your reach.
Yes.
That's fabulous. Exactly.
Yeah. If it's possible, why not? Why can't you do it? If somebody else can do it, you can do it.
Yeah. I mean, there's something which you touched on, which I want to pull on, which I thought was really interesting, which is this thing about, what you said about abusing your body, abusing your mind, and so on and so forth. And it's like, yes, perhaps that is your lesson. At the same time, you can do something about it.
That's the strength. That is the strength.
Yeah, you can do something about it. So that's such an I mean, and I think you can only get that understanding from the depths of your meditation, though, right?
That's right. And that when you just connect with yourself.
Yeah.
What do you feel you are worth? I often this is sort of just a sort of a play on words, of course. Let's say from where we're coming up from, and others like ourselves, we know that there's a continuation of life.
Yeah.
It's proven to us and we accept it. However, many people say, well, we only live once. Now, instead of saying no, however, we only live this life once, which is correct.
Which is true, yeah.
Absolutely. So the two are absolutely correct. So it's this lifetime, make the best of it.
Yeah.
Don't count on the next time around will be an easy ride.
Yeah, no, because it probably won't be. So it's like, yeah.
Precisely. Yeah. Because now is the cornerstone of the next time around, if you do believe in that sort of philosophy. So yes, this time is really important. Make the most of it. Yeah. Absolutely.
Yeah. No, I totally agree.
So they're correct as well.
Absolutely. And but I just think that's so important to remember that even though, we believe in karma and the path of life and all that jazz, is like you still have free will and stuff you can do to improve your situation.
Yes, absolutely.
That is
I think where the help might come from, when you're looking at that you do feel genuinely there's a continuation of life, is that when you lose someone, the physical agony is very difficult, but to the feeling that you will somewhere along the line, not in the same guise, of course, meet up again, that you're not gone forever, but that you're actually working together in harmony for your own spiritual progression, both of you, is a little bit of it helps.
I'm going to share something now, actually, which I was going to share with you when I turned the podcast off. It's talking about exactly the thing you talked about. So I did a meditation with two people the other day. They're really, really good friends. And for those of you who've been following the meditation for a while knows that, you know, one of my lives where I was like my guide is Roman general, and I was very close to him.
Yeah.
So I had this visual where we were standing in some sort of tent. Like my main guide was standing over the table looking at some maps or whatever. I was there for some reason, but I really felt that the two centaurs that were standing at the entrance were the two people which I guided through that meditation. I just had such a strong,
totally believe it. Yeah,
it was just so strong. And they're like best friends in this life. And I just had such a strong feeling that those were the two centaurs standing at the entrance. It was incredible. I was like, oh God, that was not what I had expected whatsoever.
Such a good feeling. If you can, if they're interested, why don't you lead them through a regression?
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Yeah, do that. The next meditation you do with them, go into regressive state, both at the same time.
Yeah. So, but it's just so interesting how we now met again this time around, and just the feeling of affiliation again is just so strong with both of them.
Yeah, it's great. It's really, really great. I think that's wonderful. Thank you for sharing it. That's great.
Yeah, no, that was really, really interesting. So we should probably bring this to a close. Thank you so much, Ines, again for.
Thank you, John, too. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. I think you called me your name. So.
Thor. Yes. What I don't know what. Thor. I'm sorry. Do you know? I don't know where that came from. I'm saying some words now, and I really hope I'm not going cuckoo. I'll say somebody else's name, and I'm not even thinking of them.
Well, probably it's ESP aura to aura. You know, that is what it is. Anyway, if anyone is listening, have any questions or anything like that, always just send it across. Thank you again, Ines, for a lovely episode. Thank you so much.
You too. Take care.
Bye.
Bye.